Well, we call this the volcano graph. So now they're saying, you're starting with the volcano graph. 1 over x squared. It has, and if you have a red pen, I like to draw asymptotes in the red pen. You can add, there's an asymptote at x equals 0. There's an asymptote at y equals 0. And this question says, describe how the graph of y equals 1 over x squared could have been translated to create the graph of each function below. Then it says, what are the equations of the asymptote for each image graph? The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the word describe. And this is in preparation. I know it's a long ways away. Our final provincial exam is in June. It's a very long ways away. But they have 2 words on the provincial exam, describe and explain, that are very specific of what is allowed and what is not allowed. If it says describe or explain, you have to use words and sentences to say what you want. If you just show math, they tell people you have to hide the math that they show and just read the words. And if the words are, see, it works, with an arrow pointing at the math. All I'm allowed to mark is the see, it works. And like, that doesn't describe it very well at all. You can sometimes add some numbers and words in your sentences. That's going to be okay, right? Since the 2 changed to a 5, we know that they made a mistake, blah, blah, blah. That is okay, using some numbers in your sentences. But if you have math off to the side and a description over here, that doesn't, and the description itself isn't enough to be fully clear that shows that you understand, they're going to take off a half a mark for clarity. So it's important. We're going to get describe questions all year where you have to practice using sentences and language. It's the way that they bring in English into math class. They're going to have pretty soon, going to ask you math questions in English, right? How many times was the word the used in Macbeth? Start counting. No. Okay, so first of all in A, wow. First of all in A, I might take the time for myself to rearrange this, because I like it better if the y is by itself. Okay? And I might color code something saying, hey, this 1 over x squared, that was my original graph, right? That's what they told me was my original graph. What has happened? I have a +3 outside. Now in this question, the work that I did there would get covered up. I would get no marks for this. I'm just going to describe how the graph could be translated to get this one, and I will write it like this. Okay? The graph of y equals 1 over x squared could be translated 3 units up to get that would get full marks on this question. Okay? If I wanted to be even like some even nicer things, I might add, right? I really want to show I know good language. Moving up and down is vertical, so I could say the graph of 1 over x squared could be vertically translated 3 units. But you see the fact that I said up, I explained that I knew it was vertical in that way in the first part, so they wouldn't take off a half mark for clarity that way for me. Okay? This question also asked us to say what the new asymptotes would be. Well, The x equals 0, if you move it up, it's going to stay at x equals 0. But the y equals 0, if you move it up 3, will now be at y equals 3. Then part B, again, I would take time. And I'm going to take out a highlighter here, purple one. There we go. I'm going to highlight the 1 over x squared because that was my original red graph. And then I'm going to look at the numbers and see what's happened. I see a plus 3. Looks like it's inside where the x was. That's going to move things left and right. I see the plus 4 outside the function. So when I go to the graph of y equals 1 over x squared is translated horizontally 3 units, and x is our liars, so that plus 3 will be left or right.
Isn't it to be a minus?
Did I make a, oh, I did a math mistake. Thank you. Yes, when I move that 4 over, this should be a minus. Thank you for noticing. I'd like to say I did that on purpose to see if you're paying attention, but no. I just made a mental math mistake going from one side to the other. Probably because, and this happens to a lot of us, if you ever start thinking ahead of what you're going to do next, it's very easy to make mistakes that are so, you're like I know that like the back of my hand, right? It's so easy to make those mistakes when you work ahead. So it's a danger. I'm just making good student mistakes so that you can see them as well. All right, so the graph of y equals 1 over x squared is translated horizontally 3 units. X's are liars. Left and translated vertically 4 units down. What would happen to our asymptotes? Well, moving left and right would change. Three units left will change the x equals 0 to x equals minus 3. And 4 units down. If they actually ask me to graph it, asymptotes are super helpful in graphing. I always start with them. Draw your asymptotes first. Where are they going to be? And then you can move the rest of the graph afterwards. Makes it really, really easy. Okay, questions to circle on this one? 16 and 17.